Hi, everybody. My name's Aisha Matthews. I am a talent advisor here at Expedia Group. I'm excited to host this event today. In terms of what to expect, we actually have a few prepared questions for the panel portion, kind of focusing on career advice, as well as how to nail the technical interview. We'll share a little bit about our career opportunities, and we'll also respond to some questions that you guys submitted when you registered. So without further ado, we'll kick things off. Would love to hear from each of our panelists, just a little bit about yourself, your name, your role, how long you've been at Expedia Group, school, major, things like that. So Andrea, can we kick it off with you?
No problem. Hi, my name is Andrea Brown. I am a software engineer in EPS, Expedia Partner Solutions, which is our one of our business-to-business parts of Expedia. I went to Tuskegee University and majored in computer science. I have been with Expedia for almost 2 years. And outside of this panel, I'm also a member of BEAM, which is the Black Employee Group. I'm a member of EG Pride which is the LGBTIA group, and as well as being a member of the EPS Tech IND, which is just the tech group of my organization.
All right. Daniela, would love to hear from you next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniela. I'm a senior software engineer here at Expedia. I work in a different org, that is MPE, that's Mobile Product and Engineering. I have a major in computer science and actually from Mexico, so I'm studying in a Mexican university there. I have been here at Expedia for 4 years now, and I'm also part of the IBGs. I'm actually the global president of LEAD. LEAD is our Latinx IBG, so we focus on the needs of the Latinx community in general.
Thank you for that great introduction. Gabriela?
Hi, everyone. My name is Gabriela Gill, and I'm from Houston, Texas. I graduated from the University of Texas at Austin, Hookham. I got a degree in computer engineering. I'm currently a dev lead here at Expedia for the Verbo Partner Experience team. We work on allowing our partners and property owners to upload photos, update amenities, add amenities, and other property information for our website. And I'm also part of LEAD, the Latinx at Expedia ERG group. And I'm very happy to be here to share some advice and hear from what you have to say.
And last but not least, Kevin, our last panelist.
Hey, y'all, what's going on? My name is Kevin. I'm a data scientist here at Expedia Group working on conversational AI. So all things like NLP and speech recognition, stuff like that. I got my undergrad at Morehouse College. I did a double major in CS and math. And then I went on to get my master's in data science from Columbia in New York. So I just want to say, ask me anything. I'm an open book. Super excited to be here, and hopefully y'all can learn something from everybody here.
And how long have you been here, Kevin?
Right. I'm super, super new. So I just started in January. Aisha was my recruiter. So shout out to Aisha. And yeah, so still learning things. So I can definitely talk about what it's like to be new here for sure.
Yeah, I think it's great. We've got some people from the software development side, data science, but great to see people kind of at different levels of their career as well. So hopefully it adds some good perspective. All right, we'll roll into our first question. Many of you have recently joined Expedia Group in the last few years. Would love to hear what advice you have for those who are starting to research or maybe prepare for their first technical roles. Kevin, let's start with you.
Yeah, so if I had any advice, and this goes for not just your interview, but also just being new in general, I know this is cliche, but ask questions seriously and definitely play the I'm new card. I definitely do that all day, every day. So yeah, it's the best way to learn about your company and also just about how things work. And, you know, it's not being in a school environment, just learning from the people around you is just the way you become better, for sure.
Andrea, anything to add?
Yes. So as an introvert, I can definitely give you advice to practice talking to people. Practice talking about yourself, practice talking about the skills you've learned. Keep practicing those interactions because it does not come natural to me. I do not like talking to people, but you're more than likely going to have to work on a team. So to get used to that, you have to keep practicing.
Yeah, I would say our environments are very collaborative. So having that the good communication skills is always going to benefit you. And I guess for all of the panelists, if you guys have anything else to chime in, feel free to unmute. I don't want to exclude anyone from adding anything. So, but we can jump to our next question. Are there any insights that you've gained since starting work that you wish that you had while you were still in school? Gabrielle, let's start with you with this one.
Yeah, so coming from an engineering background, and in college, I learned a lot about the theory about computers and how they work, right? But I never really learned the practical skills that I have right now in my current job. So if I went back to college, I wish I knew those kind of skills. And some of them involve technical and soft skills. Like some of the technical skills include like version control systems and like I'm kind of talking technical right now, but I didn't know how to commit code. I didn't know how to like work with somebody else's code or like branch off the current version that's in like production. So all of that took some time to like learn. And I feel like it affected my ramp up while I was new in my career. And it took some time to actually catch up to the rest of my peers that were in my team. So I wish like I could have done a course. I could have read an article and I spent like a weekend or more like learning about those essential ramp up skills. Also some like developer toolkits, things like learning about like coding editors and like the best and productive ways to use them. How to do shortcuts with keyboards and things to like really make you effective in your development time, right? Like not knowing how to like select everything and like it will take you a long time. So I feel like having those shortcuts and keyboard shortcut skills will help. Also technical writing and architectural design. Learning that in college would have helped a lot. So I think being able to be a good writer, good communicator, some other soft skills, also working in a team. You're going to work in a team when you go to in a company like Expedia. You're going to have to learn how to work with designers, the business analysts, as well as other developers, and learn how to work with different personality types. I might be going on and on, but yeah, those are some of the skills I wish I would have learned.
If I could just real quick, I want to say plus one to the version control thing. So just getting tight with your Git will definitely take you far. That's it.
Yeah, and I think this is all good stuff. Like this is the stuff I think people are coming here to hear. So don't feel bad. Feel free to keep expanding on some of this. Daniela, did you have anything to add to this one too?
Yes, I mean, actually, by the way, I feel like we have the same problems. I also when I started like the version control thing, it was like, what is this? And to Kevin's point, like I also feel like don't be afraid to make these kind of questions. I mean, sometimes, and I apologize that sometimes we all make this assumption when someone else is joining. We just assume that they know it, and we don't probably like take the time like to teach all these extra stuff. But it's not because we don't want to do it. It's just that like the daily days. It's something that we always use, and we forget that you are just starting the job. So don't feel free. Don't feel afraid to make any question. And I would like to add, I mean, this is a great question, but I will also add the growth mindset. I think that when I started the job, I wish I knew it. I wish that I knew that even though I didn't have those skills at that time, or I didn't have that knowledge, it didn't mean that I will not have it in the future, or it wouldn't mean that I didn't have it within myself to get it later. So this point is that if you don't feel comfortable like coding, or you don't feel comfortable going to the interviews, it's not because you're bad. It's not something within you. It's just that you just need to practice more, and you just may you just have to have this like in your mind to be sure that you are gonna get it. There is no way to go wrong if you just practice and practice. You're gonna get it. And this applies to everything that you can do, not only in the job but also in your life, you know. And another point that I wanted to add, this is related to the same point, is that as a software engineers, we always have to keep learning, like learning all the time. So I actually recommend you like to have within your calendar 1 hour or probably 2 hours a day to just learn new things. Just be curious about what's going on. I feel like what has been working for me is to always be prepared, you know, for the next step. My definition of good luck is like opportunity and be prepared, right? So the opportunity is going to happen, but you need to be prepared in order to take them. So make sure that you are prepared for that.
And kind of a piggyback onto that question, Gabriella, you mentioned a lot of those skills that they think, or maybe think that students should be exploring. Do you have recommendations as far as like where they can go to get some skills in these areas? Any resources, or this can kind of be for everybody as well?
Yeah, some of those skills I like to research online. I mean, Google has pretty much, you can just Google anything and you can probably find an article on how to like improve on version control, or like how to get good at React or other technologies. I really like Medium, which is like a website where people post credible and really, really well-written blog posts, technical blog posts. You can find other things, but I like the technical part about it. And they even include examples and like coding examples. And like, it's very visual, and I'm a visual learner. So I really like going to Medium, and like I subscribe to it. It's only $5 a month. I believe there's some free articles as well, but it has been a really good resource to my learning.
All right, we'll jump to our next question. Oh.
No. I was just going to say, again, for sure, go to Medium. And for data scientists specifically, there's like a branch of Medium called Toward Data Science. I think that's what it's called. And that can really show you like how to put a model together and help you understand some of these high level concepts that sometimes are a little bit hard to grasp at school. And for software engineering, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the resources HackerRank, Cracking the Coding Interview. It's like a book. I'm sure you can get a PDF of it online everywhere. And I know there are some other coding problem sites that I'm forgetting, but definitely if you're going that route, doing practice problems is the best way.
Also adding Geek Code and Geeks for Geeks.
Yep, that's it. Thank you.
What was the second one?
The second one was Geeks for Geeks. It has some practice problems, but it also has a lot of information on the fundamentals of what's in the technical interview.
I wanted to add that there are other resources, like for example, like Udemy or Pluralsight, that it has the videos that you can actually watch when you are doing something else. Like, for example, I use my treadmill and I exercise and watch like tech videos, because that give me ideas or something that I want to check deeper later.
All right, these are all great. Thanks so much for the guidance there. We'll jump ahead to our next questions. Besides applying to a job, what is the best way to secure a technical interview? Gabriella, let's start with you.
Yeah, so to secure that interview that you want to get, make sure that you read the job description and see what skills they're looking for. And then once you know that, and you know, okay, this is the job I want, the next thing you want to do is tailor your resume to describe that position, right? Like for example, if they're looking for front end and you're a front end developer, make sure you include your front end skills. This can also apply to back end or data science, anything. And then it's very important to add projects, because that makes you stand out on your resume. Like, oh, okay, like she or he has done these projects that are very applicable to what this job entails. And then the next thing that you want to do is just be honest on that. Make sure you don't lie on that resume. Like if you don't know something, just don't put it, because the chances are that they're going to ask you about it, and if they might catch you, right? So it's very important to be honest with what you put out there, and make sure you diversify on your skills. If you know more than one programming language or more than one technology, make sure to include that, because at Expedia and other companies, we use so many technologies. We use GraphQL, we use Java, we use JavaScript. So all of that can make you stand out. And then a manager has so many resumes to look at. And you want to make sure that your resume is the one that they pick. And then that's how you can secure that interview and then start preparing for it once you get it.
Andrea, any advice?
Especially for software engineering, make sure you understand the fundamentals. You can memorize data structures, big O, as much as you can, but technical interviews, they are especially looking for how you apply that knowledge. And that goes day to day, because when we have peer reviews, there's a lot of times where they'll leave GitHub comments about, hey, this part of code was deprecated, this isn't as efficient as this, etc. Make sure you know those are fundamentals and know how to apply them.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Again, many students are approaching their first technical interview. Would love to hear what tips you might have as they're preparing, or maybe any advice that you'd have for them to prepare for a whiteboard interview.
I'll start.
Yeah.
I'm going to steal from myself and say what I said a second ago. Ask questions in your interview, not only because it helps you clarify the problem when you're answering, but low-key, it gives you some time to think too. Like when you're really on the spot trying to figure it out, you're like, so if I understand you correctly, are you asking for, and repeat the whole thing back to them. And in your head, you can just think about how you want to answer the question. And it shows that, you're actually listening and paying attention and have good communication skills too. So definitely ask questions.
I think that's a great tip.
Yeah, I cannot emphasize the importance of asking questions and making sure that you are solving the right problem, like the right issue, the right question. You will get impressed of how many interviews I have had with people who we discover that they are solving the incorrect problem once they already started solving it, And by the time they get it, they get nervous because they don't have enough time to start solving the right problem. So yeah, make sure that you make a lot of questions. Don't assume things. Always ask, okay, can I assume this? Is it the right question that we are solving? Well, you can also run a couple of examples just to make sure that that you are right in the right problem. And also get comfortable with whiteboarding. If you have a whiteboard at home, try to practice there. But if not, even a pen and pencil will work. And really focus on solving the problem there. Like, for example, set aside 30 minutes and try to solve that problem and don't get into the temptation to go on to your computer to even see if, you forget any grammar of the language. Forget it. Even if you want to do pseudocode, that's fine, but do it on paper and commit to complete the problem there. And once you complete that, then you can go to your computer and try to type it there. And this is when you will find out all the problems that you may have in your coding. But this is very important that you really get adjust and get comfortable, just thinking out loud and writing on paper, because that's what is going to be expected in the technical interview.
Yeah, I'm not technical, but I've heard that advice too, is make sure even if you're doing it at home alone, talk out loud like you're walking someone else through that thought process so they understand it. All right. And I think our last, we have two more. What makes somebody stand out in the interview process? Gabriela, let's start with you.
Yeah, so +1 to asking questions. You want to know what the problem is about. asking those requirement questions. And that's also going to apply like in real life, right? Making sure you know what you're doing. And then I would say writing simple functions when you're actually solving the problem. That way you can demonstrate that you are writing something legible and understandable. It gives the interviewer an impression that, oh, like he or she can write clean code. And also make sure you communicate the solution that you're giving. I mean, you don't have to talk all the time because obviously you need to have time to think about the problem as well. So it helps to also write down like comments of like what you want to do, and this gives the user or the interviewer a good glimpse on like what you're trying to do. Also, talk about edge cases during the problem solving. That will really impress the interviewer if you can catch like something that can go wrong, right? Because edge cases are really hard to catch. And if you do it, then they know immediately, oh, he or she is good problem solver, a good debugger. And also making sure you write test cases and you test the code, right? Think about different test cases that you can write for it, and that can also cover the edge cases. And also having like a product mentality, like what can I do to improve my code? What can I do to make this faster? Having that mindset makes a person stand out as well. Even if you don't finish or you don't have the syntax correct, just knowing, giving that explanation of what you can do next can really help you out.
All right, Kevin, anything to add on that one?
Actually, I think they did a really good job of covering it.
All right, we'll jump to the next one. Last question in this section. Any additional advice for those that are going into their first technical interview? Andrea, let's start with you.
I can reiterate stuff that has already been said.
Okay.
Make sure you're practicing. Make sure you feel prepared for the technical interview. Practice as much as you can. Use the tools online that are available to you. Most of them are free. And I will say that when I was interviewing last year fall, they were looking for people that were very that could explain their thought process as clearly as possible. What they want to see on the interview is to see how you think, to see if with the information that you have available, you can make the best decisions. Because we have a lot of agency on how we code, what services we code. And with that agency, we have the ability to make decisions that our managers trust. And our managers, our leads are not making decisions for us. We are.
Daniela, anything to add on the last one?
Yes, I also would like to add on top of that is that don't forget the object-oriented design. This is important to practice. And it's also going to be part of your interviews as well. So for this one, I know, I mean, at least that happened to me at school. I didn't have a lot of experience on that. So it's really important that you start practicing that. Even you can take any system that is on the market and just start thinking how it was created. You can even take like a small portion of it and just try to figure it out how you will implement it. I feel like for this one, it will be great to have like a peer student, so both of you can compare the results and see how other person is solving the same problem. Because at the end of the day, design is just a trade-off. There is not like a good design or bad design. Everything's a trade-off depending on what you want to solve and what are the most important things in your design. So I feel like in these kind of interviews, it's very important that you are able to articulate what are those trade-offs and why you are deciding to go to the solution.
I actually had something to add also. You know, in these interviews, I feel like so many people focus on, I need to get the answer right. I need to get the correct answer to the question, but that's not necessarily true. I feel like your interviewer really just wants to see what you know. So say everything that's on your brain. Say, I'm thinking this, or I wonder if I tried this. Just tell them everything you know, and maybe even if you don't get the question necessarily right, it was still a good interview, because I know I've gotten questions wrong on my interviews for this job, actually. So there you go.
Yeah, I'll plus one. I mean, I've been in the recruiting space for a very long time, and it's not always about getting the most optimal solution, but walk them through your thought process, explain, why you've made certain decisions. And it is a pretty collaborative process. They want to work through the problem with you. So if you're communicating like, hey, I'm going, thinking about it this way, they'll want to be able to jump in and help either guide you or offer tips and suggestions. So yeah, definitely talk through your thought process and be vocal. Thank you for the panel portion. I'd love to have you guys stick around for some of the Q&A coming up. I'm going to quickly share my screen though. Perfect. So before we dive into too much of the Q&A, we'll talk a little bit about some of the questions around internship and full-time opportunities. I know there are a bunch of questions that were submitted around this. So first and foremost, we'll talk a little bit about the profiles. So for this upcoming season, we're still locking down exactly what those numbers look like and what that will be, but we'll primarily focus on a few key areas, and there'll be software development, engineering, data science, product management, data analytics, and we're anticipating some additional needs in the UX space. In terms of our timelines, we'll generally have roles posted late August. That way you guys can hop on the website and start taking a look at those opportunities and applying. We have campus events. Usually we'll kick off those engagements in September. So going out to career fairs, hosting info sessions and tech talks, and engaging in different networking events with campuses. And then we usually kick off interviews and extend offers in the October timeframe. So that's kind of what you can expect. In terms of interview structures, it might differ a little bit with each profile. But for the most part, they're going to be made up of a strengths assessment to start. We'll do online competency or technical-based assessment. We'll do a final round interview, which is usually broken into three different interviews. I guess one loop, 3 interviews in that, and 2 of them tend to be competency or technical focused, and then 1 behavioral interview. So that's pretty much the full structure. And then from there, we would move forward and extend offers quickly after. One exciting thing I wanted to chat with everyone about is also our early career discovery program. So this is something that we are just launching this season here at Expedia Group. So very excited to kind of kick this off. But it's basically going to be a week-long event designed to provide underrepresented identities in tech access to engaging skills and career development training. So the week-long event will be made up of these 6 or 7 different areas. First is the EG Essentials, and sorry, that's Expedia Group. I know we need to get used to not using so many acronyms, but EG Essentials is really going to be about learning about Expedia Group. We'll probably have an introduction to inclusion and diversity, and just sharing a little bit more about the brands and the business itself. The Career Essentials will really focus on learning from different leaders at Expedia, building your personal brand, understanding how to show up in your career. In terms of mentorship, we'll also get you aligned to a mentor for the week-long session. So there will be some built-in engagement during the week, but then even post-engagement, we'll make sure that you and the mentor stay connected. Job Essentials will focus on some of the basic things like resume writing, behavioral interviewing, but also kind of doing a deeper dive into some of those areas. And then from the coding perspective, we'll host a couple of sessions around demystifying the coding interview. So really breaking down things like the HackerRank online assessment or just the different aspects of like whiteboarding interviewing. So really kind of getting to a granular detail there. And then we'll also give you an opportunity to connect with some of the current interns that are aboard at Expedia Group. So really giving you access to ask some of those good questions from a panel of current interns. And then I will say after this, the rest of the Q&A portion, we will share some links with you so that you can, one, get connected to our careers website. So when those roles are up and posted, you guys will know where to go. But also we'll send you guys the link to this career discovery program so that if you are interested in participating for the week-long event, you guys are able to register and sign up for that. All right. Now, going back to some of the Q&A, we had a number of questions that were submitted when you guys registered. So we're going to pull a handful of those out of the hat. And we'll first ask this one. How do I recover effectively from a mistake made during an interview? Anyone have any good tips?
I do. I've made a lot of mistakes during an interview. The best way to recover from it is asking what you did wrong. So even if you quote unquote failed that interview, the next one you're prepared for this question because you learned from the previous interview, and just keep learning from previous interviews until you've gained as much knowledge, until you've gained a lot of knowledge to be comfortable during those technical questions.
And I would say, I feel like I keep saying the same thing over and over, which is not good, but like what you can always do along the way is check yourself with your interviewer. Like you can propose an idea, kind of like Aisha said earlier. I'm thinking about doing this, or this is how I would approach the problem. Am I thinking in the right way? There are little questions like that that you can ask to not only one, make the interview more collaborative, but two, make sure you don't go down a rabbit hole of a wrong solution before you have to turn around and backtrack.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great question to kind of, it's a great opportunity for them to jump into and give you that feedback if you are headed down a wrong path or not thinking about these things the same way that they would. So I kind of like that question. Our next question is from Christina. What does a typical day look like for you? You know, this one will vary depending on who jumps in.
Well, right now we all work from home, but like, I guess in the office, my typical day is, we have stand-ups. That's what we call them. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's where we all get together, like all the developers, stakeholders, and our manager. And we just talk about what we did yesterday and if there are any blockers. And then our leaders, they work to unblock us in order to focus on the actual product and developing that. And then we say, okay, this is what our goal is for today. So I really like that because it kind of helps me prepare for the day and what I'm going to do. And obviously, there are breaks involved. I really like the office of Expedia because they offer snacks and free food sometimes. I do miss that. And then we have lunch sometimes. And so all of that helps us, be more productive and also like take mental breaks whenever we want. And often we do have demos. Like this happens like every other week, where we present what we did for like the sprint. And the sprint is like an agile term where we present what we did for like the 2 weeks that we planned for. So that's what a typical developer day-to-day looks like for me.
Kevin, from the data science perspective, I know you're a bit newer too, but what does it look like from your side?
Yeah, so I'm still new, but for me, I feel like a typical day for me is reading about different types of models that might address the problem I'm solving, maybe running some experiments, meaning kind of getting some test data and running the models on that test data and seeing how it performs. And then we also do stand-ups. They look kind of similar to where we help get unblocked, but it's more like, oh, I'm missing some data that I need, or I want to try this feature out. Has anyone thought of using this? It's not more about like presenting what you did. It's more like an idea exchange. So yeah, still learning those. I haven't touched too much stuff yet.
Does it sound like everybody on this team does stand-ups, or everybody on the call? Yep. I'm not on a technical team, and we do a daily stand-up. It started, I think, mostly due to COVID, just to get everybody collaborating and kind of way to touch base every day. All right. Next question. What has been the most rewarding part of working at Expedia Group? That was submitted by Nicole.
I can go first. I think that for me is the collaboration between all the teams. Last year, I had the opportunity to work with 6 different teams because we were working in a new line of business. So that required interaction with different sides of the page. I mean, like all the backend systems that Expedia have. And I really was always impressed by the people that who's always like willing to help and to help you solve questions. And like if you have anything, like any question or anything, that they help you. And I honestly haven't seen that before in other kind of companies. So that's one that always impressed me the more about the collaboration between teams.
I think for me as a front end developer, I do a lot of like the UI work that goes out to production. I like to see like those products get used by our users and collecting the data and seeing how much traffic we have. Like to me, it's like very, I don't know, it's rewarding because you worked like during the day to like put those features out, and now you're seeing people use it and helping them travel and actually like book a flight or a hotel or a verbo. So to me, it's very rewarding, like to see your features out in the open.
In my opinion, I think this goes without saying, but we work with really, really smart people. Like several people on my team, I think all of them, maybe except me, have like PhDs in all different kinds of things too: linguistics, NLP, physics. You just have a bunch of smart minds around you, and you can ask them for help like anytime, and people are so kind of ready to jump in and help you out. So I just think, there's so much room to grow here because of that, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely learned a lot about like experimentation since I've been in Expedia, because we never did that before. And I learned about what an A/B test is. And it's just very amazing to me because you can run like 2 tests at the same time, saying, okay, do they like this color more, or like blue or red, like for example. And then we see like where they click more, like based on those experiments. So we do a lot of experiments in our websites, and to me, like that way we learn about our users and what they are interested in more. So I like that part about it as well.
All right, we'll jump ahead to our next one. What is the best thing a student can do to separate themselves from the pack? I think this means, and specifically in like an interview.
I can think of maybe 2 things: being a very good communicator and being very confident in your skills. No one wants to work with someone that doubts every decision that they make. So you'll definitely stand out if you're confident. And having great communication skills can only help you.
Yeah, I also will say that, I mean, just to add to that is that just be yourself. I mean, just don't try to fake it. It is also related to the point that don't add skills that you don't have. Just add what you really master, like, or what you have been working on, or something that you can talk about. So you are prepared to have these kind of conversations, technical conversations of questions. And yeah, be confident. And I think that the best way to be confident is just by being yourself, because people always can notice when you are not being yourself, and even you notice it, and you will not be comfortable because you are not comfortable being someone else. So you are comfortable being yourself.
Yeah, I'll agree. There's definitely a level of like authenticity that you want to make sure you bring into that interview, and people want to feel like they've really gotten to know you. So sometimes even being like overly rehearsed in an interview isn't as helpful. They want to feel like they're really getting to know you through the conversation. And all right, we'll jump to our next one. Are there opportunities for mentorship? How does Expedia continue to develop and train its employees?
I feel like I can definitely take this one because I use it all the time. I mean, obviously there's like learning internally on a tool we call Compass. It's pretty much just a catalog of online courses that you can do to pick up a new skill or refresh the skills you already have. And I think they're adding more courses like all the time. So some people who were not data science previously are now enrolling in data science courses to learn about machine learning and a bunch of different things, which is really cool. And on my team specifically, and I believe other teams do this too, I kind of got a buddy when I came in who's been on the team for a long time, and they've been showing me the ropes, and that's the person I can ping anytime I have a question. But as you get further and further along being here, more and more people will become available for you to ask questions to, but that's just the first person that you can go to for everything. So there's no shortage of resources to help you become better, not just as a person, but like in your role, as with your technical skills, everything. So definitely take advantage of it when you come here. Ooh, last thing. Expedia, I just found out they pay for like you to go to conferences and stuff. This was new to me, but something I just found out. This conference on machine learning that would have cost like $400, Expedia just like covered it. And they're like, yeah, to help you build your skills. So, definitely do it.
Yeah, on that, they paid for me to go to Grace Hopper last year, and that was actually 2 years ago. And that was an amazing opportunity because I felt that I learned a lot about being an engineer, and like also my identity like as a woman and Latina, and like being more comfortable with that, and owning it. So I feel like those kind of conferences really do help a lot. And as far as mentorship, I'm currently a mentor in the company. I mentor 3 junior developers, and they actually just asked me like randomly, like they don't even know me that well in the beginning, and they were like, hey, like you're a senior engineer, and like I want to be that one day. Can you mentor me? And I said, absolutely. Let's find some time and meet every other week. So if you just don't be afraid to ask for that mentorship. Like once you start a career, look for that person that you want to be and like you know about, and just say, hey, like I want to learn more about doing what you have done, and what can I do to get there? What can I do to get a promotion? And go for it. A lot of people are not going to say no to you. So just be confident.
I love that. Did these folks like find you through the mentorship program at Expedia Group, or literally just?
So I think they asked their manager in their one-on-ones, and their managers like search for them. They're like, oh, this is a girl that you can talk to. And then they just set me up with the junior dev. And I guess others just like, I mean, there's not a lot of like women in engineering, so they can easily find who they are.
Well, I will say we do have a recently, I won't say recently, but newer program around mentorship that you can tap into. I'm actually a mentor as well. I need to get a mentor and be a mentee, but I have someone underneath me. But basically, you can build out a profile for yourself if you want to be a mentor, or build out a profile for yourself if you want to be a mentee. And it does take a little bit of kind of searching, but you find someone that maybe has skills in a particular area that maybe aligns with what you want, where you want to grow your skills, or maybe they're a part of a similar inclusion resource group or community group, and you have that kind of connection. But it makes it really easy to find a match. And then, just reach out. I think that's the big piece, is be confident, just kind of reach out and move yourself forward. All right. This one is submitted by Jacob. What has been the most impactful or challenging project that you've gotten to work on since you've been here?
I can start like creating a new line of business. That's one of the challenging things like I have been work on since I started at Expedia. And the reason that is because there are multiple systems that needs to go through to create a new line of business. It's like really touching finance, like how the booking system works, like how the UI works as well. And many of these things are handled by different teams that are sometimes not even in your same time zone, but they're in other time zones. And it also uses different kind of technologies. Actually, I was able to learn 3 different technologies just because of this project.
I can go next. The most challenging project that I worked on is my most recent one. Our team was working on an API first initiative, which is to get all of the APIs to use the same tool. And that tool uses Spring Cloud Gateway, and learning that opposed to what we already had as legacy code was a huge learning curve. And there were no experts in our team.
Awesome. Always great to hear about some of the projects that you guys are actually working on inside of your teams. This next question is submitted by Melissa. I don't have a lot of connections in the technology industry, so I'd love to hear some general advice about paving your own way. I don't know, any advice about maybe creating networks or how to get connected or plugged in at specific companies?
Yeah, I think that, networking is super important. And also I see that, Melissa, you're a woman, so I can relate a lot into what you're saying, like paving your way into tech. And I feel like for women, we have this challenge that is what is the expectation from us. And historically, we have been seeing we are good at, for example, managing, or we are good at documenting things. And this is within you. I mean, it's great. Go ahead and follow that path. But I feel like you always need to ask you, is this really something that I want to do? Or is it because there is expectation from someone else? And the reason I said is because the further you go within your career, is less easy to find women that are keeping tech. Like, for example, I don't see a lot of principals, women in tech, or architects, or CTOs, right? And the more I think about it is that when we are women, we always see the way to climb the corporate ladder is to go into management, right? But it's not always that the case. So don't always ask yourself if this is really what you want to do. And if you want to keep in tech, meaning getting paid by coding, I mean, just go ahead. Even if we don't have a lot of role models, just go ahead. This is what you really want.
So follow your passion, essentially. Yeah. Anyone else have advice on this piece? Well, I can jump in from my perspective. Just on the networking side is definitely, you never know, where you're going to be in life, right? So make connections whenever you can. So if you're at things like our early career discovery program and you get connected with a leader or a mentor, make sure you stay connected with that person. Reach out to them for advice if you need to determine, I need help deciding what classes are going to be most impactful my next semester. You have somebody that you can reach out to get advice that's in the field, right? Or if you're interviewing after college and they happen to be at a company, now you've got this connection that you've already established. So kind of all these interactions, like interviews or like the early career discovery program, they're opportunities to really start making connections and building networks that you can take with you, not only in this next role, but as you continue to grow your career. I think a lot of times those connections make it really easy to get to the front of the line when it comes to interviews and things like that. Now we're running up on a little bit of time, so I think we have time for maybe one more. This one is from Sarah. What are some current challenges in the tech or travel industry that we're being faced with currently? Anything from a tech side?
I think that the main one is COVID right now, right? That's affecting heavily the tech travel, but actually it's recovering. And our CEO Peter Kern, he said that once we have a vaccine, people will start traveling again, and that's actually what's happening. So actually, this was a big challenge this past year and this year. But actually, the company followed the approach to focus internally on everything that we needed to change, to reorganize, and to come out with great products. So once people is ready to travel again, they will choose to book with us.
Have any of your projects or the work that you guys have been dedicated to shifted because of COVID?
Yes, like for example, like the line of business that I was working on, it was suspended. I mean, paused because it doesn't make a lot of sense to launch it right now. But it was just like paused. I mean, once people start like traveling again, most likely it's gonna be because it's done. It's just like it hasn't been launched yet.
All right. If we have no more on that point, we can jump ahead. So this is the last thing I just wanted to kind of chat about as we round things out. I know we mentioned a little bit about these earlier, but we'll be sending an email out to everybody following this event, possibly tomorrow, but it may not come out till Monday. So please do keep an eye out for that. Basically, the Early Career Discovery Program, we're opening it up to everybody, and it's really focused on getting essentially underrepresented individuals, people that self-identify in that space, the opportunity to come and learn and set yourself up for success as you run into the fall season so that you're ready to interview and feel comfortable and confident in that space. So please feel free to take a look at that. If you're interested in learning more or sharing with friends, you're more than welcome to do so once you get that email. And then in terms of our general roles, again, we'll have those up and posted to our website likely in late summer, so August. We'll start recruitment in fall. So feel free to take a look at the life@expedia.com site. You can definitely head over there now if you're interested in just doing a little bit of research or learning a little bit more. And I know that there were a lot of questions that we weren't able to answer that popped up in the chat. I know we'll be getting a list of those from Way Up, and we'll do our best to kind of address some of those and get some responses out to you guys. But thank you guys. I want to say a big thank you to our panel. I know there were a lot of tough questions in there, but I appreciate all of your responses and the transparency that you provided around the company. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. And thank you everybody else on the line for joining us as well. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Thanks for joining.